Hello, I'm Elizabeth, the Minister of Beauty, and I share the Bible. That's business inspiration, beauty, life, and enjoyment. So guys, if you are new to the channel, please do subscribe. If you are returning, I really appreciate you. And if you are new here, just to let you know a little bit about me, I am a beauty business owner and operator. I am a skincare line creator, and I'm also a licensed esthetician. You can find out more about me by going to my websites. The links are in the description box below. So guys, I'm celebrating 16 years since I started my beauty business in 2008, and man, it has definitely been a journey. I decided to share 16 things that I have learned in the 16 years that I have been in business, meaning 8 wins and 8 losses. So in my first 2 videos, I shared total of 8 wins that I've experienced in the 16 years. And then I'm now going into my final 4 of the 8 losses / lessons that I have learned in the 16 years that I have owned and operated my beauty business. So guys, let's just go ahead and get into these final 4. All right, so number 5. I have so much wasted money, and I don't have enough time to go into all of the things that I have wasted money on. As a licensed esthetician, I will say that there's definitely something called the shiny object syndrome. If you know, you know, but getting into different gadgets and tools and products and materials and all these different companies that come at you to try to sell you on stuff that you need for your business that's just going to help you to skyrocket and make so much money. Definitely been there, done that. Coaches, oh boy, I don't even have enough time to get into that with you guys. But, you know, I can share one example with you quickly. When I started my business, I started solo. I started as an individual. I hired my first team member in 2012, and I still have team members / employees to this day. And I love having a team. It's a blessing, you know, but when your business grows, the demands grow. And when I started, when it was just me, I didn't need to have a phone answering service or, you know, anything like that to help me out with my phone calls, because I was doing everything myself when I started out. But over time, as the business grew, the demands grew, more people were wanting to come and patronize the business, more people were working in the business, and there was a service that I had paid for the calls so that we would not miss any opportunities to make money with clients. And so the way they broke things down, it just made it seem like, oh, this is a great deal. But because the business was so busy, the minutes and time that I was paying for, when I was getting those charges, it was like, what in the world? So looking over the charges over a period of time, I finally came to the realization that it's like, man, what am I doing? I might as well hire a team member, hire an employee to actually work in the business that can do this versus trying to hire out and having some sort of, you know, and I'm losing my words right now, guys. It's early as I'm recording this, but you know what I mean. And, you know, the system, it was just like, this is absolutely crazy. Why am I doing this? So when I finally came to that realization, I did hire someone and I cut that service off. So the lesson that I learned in that, and other things as well, is that know the difference between I can't afford to and I can't afford not to. So making that decision to get rid of that service versus hiring a person to work in the business, that was a period of time when I realized the difference between I can't afford to and I can't afford not to. Because in the beginning, thinking of hiring a person, even though that comes with its own risks also, there's always that. But I got to that realization in my business where it was like, I can't afford not to. I have to do this. And I actually could afford to all along, but I was just under the impression that it wasn't going to be worth it. And overall, it definitely was. So knowing the difference between I can't afford to and I can't afford not to really will help you. And it finally got to the place where it helped me to not waste a lot of money. All right, so number 6 would be treating my business like a charity. I have had the issue and the problem, I would say, over the years of being a people pleaser and just not wanting to say no to anyone. If someone comes up to me and they seem to be genuine and I want to try to do all that I can to help them out, at least that's the way I used to be. I'm not saying that I'm completely changed from that, but I'm definitely a whole lot wiser than I used to be when it comes to that. So the business is not a charity. I don't have a 501c3. It's great if someone has one of those and you operate as a charity. And we also know that there are a lot of people that have those where it's not for the real purposes as what it's supposed to be. But that's another story for another day that I'm not even going to go into. But if you know, you know. So giving people opportunities that really didn't deserve them because I was treating the business like it was a charity and treating people like they were a charity case because I felt like I could help them when it really isn't supposed to be that way. The business, even though it's not a partnership, when you're bringing people on, it is supposed to be beneficial to both parties. And I got to the point where things were more beneficial to the people who I had given opportunities to than what it was for me as the business owner having this business. So knowing when to quit is one of the lessons that I learned from not treating my business like a charity case anymore, and knowing when to quit on people, knowing when to quit on opportunities, and knowing also when to quit with places and spaces and things that I'm doing in business is also, as well as I should say, also knowing when to expand. I've had my opportunities to expand and grow, and I've also had my times where it was time to extract, contract, downsize. So when I got to the point of realizing that, and sometimes life and business, it will force you to realize that, hey, you got to do some things differently. This is not charity. Can't help everybody out. Everybody is not going to be for you, and you're not going to be for everybody. And that's okay. So learning that lesson for someone like myself who has been a people pleaser, it wasn't easy. There were times when I cried because I didn't want to fire someone or let someone go, lay someone off, close a location, whatever. But it's like, but this isn't a charity. This is a business. And some people may see some of the things that some people do in business that are in these positions like they're cold-hearted or whatever. But unfortunately, that's just the way it is when it's a business. It's business decisions. Nothing is personal about it, or at least it shouldn't be. All right, number 7, one of the losses I would say would be pouring from an empty cup. Being so running on fumes and feeling like it was a badge of honor because I was doing so much to make sure that everyone else that was working in the business, as well as even clients that were coming to the business, even though they're important, you can't serve from an empty space. And I did that for a number of days, weeks, months, and even some years. And it just wasn't good. It can be something that energy-wise can turn people off. There may be times when you're trying to give everything that you can to an individual, whether it's a team member or maybe even a client in the business. And because I'm on empty and I'm trying to serve or, pour from an empty cup, then if people are heartless and they don't have empathy or even sympathy, then they're not going to understand, and they're going to think that the space that you're operating from, and it may come off as being cold, or you're tired, or they're taking it personally, then it could be a turn off to them. And I can definitely say that I've had my times over the years where that's how it's been, because I was pouring from an empty cup. But one of the lessons that I learned in that loss of pouring from an empty cup is that you can't sacrifice yourself to save others. It's just like when you're flying and they tell you about using the oxygen mask and they instruct you, you have to secure yours and make sure yours is on and it's right before you try to help somebody else. And I know that for a period of time, that's something that I was doing. And it was, it definitely wasn't on purpose. I was, going through a lot, dealing with betrayal and theft, dealing with a sick husband, just a lot of different things that I was dealing with. And I wasn't operating from a space where I was filled with the things that I really needed in order to be able to serve efficiently the way that I really needed to, so that not only could my business just survive, but so that it could thrive. So there was a period of time, and not having the right support at those times on my team, that really caused some things to not be where they should have been and could have been in my business. So the business definitely, I would say, even though it's been successful, it definitely has suffered because of those things. So I learned the lesson that you cannot sacrifice yourself to save others. Don't try to pour from an empty cup, because it just does not work. All right, so number 8 of the losses/lessons that I have experienced in my 16 years of being this beauty business owner and operator is that I suffer from depression. Suffering from depression, it doesn't mean that everything in your life is doom and gloom. It doesn't mean that you are not experiencing success. We have seen a lot of people over the years that we thought we knew, but we definitely knew of them, but we didn't know them personally, that may have been in entertainment or just on TV. I'm not even going to go into all of the names. And then one day you wake up to news that they offed themselves. Tragic stories, tragic situations. And a lot of those people, not all, but a lot of those people on the surface and even success-wise, everything was good. But internally they were suffering. And sometimes it's because of things that have happened in their lives or happened to them or happened to people that they know, where they were focusing on those things and just overall depression set in. And I will say that that's something that I dealt with over, the years, dealing with depression. And it is hard. It really is. So one of the lessons that I've learned from that is to definitely invest in my emotional, mental, and spiritual health. And when I say invest in my spiritual health, I'm not talking about paying a preacher or paying, money to a church or offerings or things like that, but investing time. It's not just about money. Investing time and building myself up in my spirit, learning more about myself spiritually, reading, praying, releasing my cares, casting my cares on God. The Bible says, cast your cares upon God because He cares for you. And I will say that a lot of things that I went through, I internalized them and I was trying to fix it myself. It's like, I got to make it work. I got to make it right. And yeah, it's work that I have to do, but it doesn't mean that I have to go through all of those things by myself. So investing the time, it's not just about money. Investing in your emotional and mental health definitely is important as well. I believe in therapy. Even though I am a believer in God, I definitely am a believer in therapy. I believe that God has given a lot of good people the heart to really want to help people, and they have taken the time to get their skills and their education to be able to help others in their specialty of therapy. And I'm all about that. And I believe those who, like myself, are leaders, it's really even more so important to invest in that. All of us need to be able to say that we are well, and if we're going through things, be able to turn to others to help us. But when you are in a position where you're a leader and all of the responsibilities and risks and a large share of the work and everything is on you, it's really important that you have someone that you can speak to and turn to. And I'm a big proponent of that. So over the past few years, I've been doing that more and more with therapy. I'm a huge believer in it. Not every therapist is going to be your best fit. Finding someone that's going to be a good fit for you is really important. So you will probably have to try a few different people out before you get to someone that you feel comfortable with. Don't just settle. Don't just feel like, oh, well, this is the one person that they assign me with, so I have to speak. No, you don't have to do that. But definitely investing in your emotional, mental, and spiritual health is extremely important, because going through depression is it's a lot. And it's one of the reasons why I'm not going to call any names, but I have so much respect for some people who are in these online media spaces where they are seen a lot. They have a whole lot of followers and subscribers, and they have gone through things publicly, and they are still standing, and people have been trying to tear them down. That is not easy. I cannot even imagine what that is like. And I can only imagine that they have gone through some depression, but I believe that they have done the things and the work to be able to continue to show themselves, to face the public, to be able to do the work that they're doing and continue to grow and be better at what they're doing than what they were before. And that's what I want to do as well. I don't want to allow the things that I've experienced and gone through to be the end of me and the end for me when it comes to my business. I am grateful for all of the time and effort that I have put into what I'm doing, and I believe that things can only go up from here. And going up from here doesn't mean that I'm going to try to expand to have more locations or things like that, but just being better every single day at even the little things that I do for my business, whether it's investing more time in my team members so that they can be even greater at the skills that they have to provide the best for the clients that we currently do serve. Even if no one new ever came back to the business, which isn't true because new clients come all the time, and I'm grateful for that. But depression really is real. It's not a marker of not being successful. It's just a marker of life, that we go through things mentally and we need to really learn how to address those things. So the lesson I have learned from that, I'm so glad that I have learned from it, because just seeing someone that's just going to prescribe some medication for you to take is not addressing the problems. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing if anyone goes through that route to address depression, but that shouldn't be where it ends. You really need to release. You really need to speak things out. You really need to get tools to help you on the path and the journey so that you don't stay there, because just medicating a situation and an issue like that is never going to be the end all be all for that concern. I truly am a proponent of dealing with things in therapy, and not just therapy, but doing things in life that are also going to help to take you out of that state and you're not just staying there. All right, guys, so those are the final 4 of my 8 losses/lessons that I've learned in the past 16 years of owning and operating my beauty business. As a beauty business owner and entrepreneur, it has been a lot of beautiful things that I have seen and experienced, but there's definitely been a lot of ugly. I have this saying that the beauty industry is ugly. It is, but there's a lot of beautiful in it, a lot of beauty in it, and I will not let go of the beauty because of the ugly that I have experienced in this industry. So guys, let me know in the comment sections any lessons that you have learned from any of the losses that you've experienced in your life. I appreciate you sticking around for this compilation series of the 8 wins and 8 losses/lessons that I've experienced in my 16 years of owning and operating my beauty business. I'm grateful that I made that step many years ago, stepping out of the field of being in legal assisting to become someone who is an advocate for wellness and beauty, and operating in that and owning who I am, owning my craft, and owning my business. That has been a blessing. So thank you guys so much for being a part of this journey with me as the Minister of Beauty, sharing the Bible. That's business inspiration, beauty, life, and enjoyment. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. If you haven't already done so, thank you for liking this video, sharing with someone that you know, like, and love. So until the next time, I hope and pray you all have an amazingly blessed and beautiful day.